Howdy folks, and welcome back to MOC-UP. As you can tell, today we are on site. We are at the Hoover City Sci-Fi Festival in Alabama. I am here with Eric Allen, a fellow member of my lug, and today we're going to be talking to him about this absolute beast of a MOC back here. Would you like to tell us what this is, Eric?
This is an Imperial Rapid Deployment Station. I call it Outpost Echo Madre. And what these are structures. They're modular, they're prefabricated, they're assembled either on board a Star Destroyer or at a garrison, and then they're dropped into position by the same drop ships that transport the huge Imperial walkers. So this is something, you've not seen this before in the movies, you've not seen it before in the TV series. You've not even seen it before in video games. This is actually something that appeared first in a supplement to the Star Wars role-playing game that was produced by West End Games. And this particular book, where it came from, was published in 1998. It's called Hideouts and Strongholds. And basically, if you have seen these office trailers out on construction job sites, that's kind of the same concept. It's something that can be put into position for a temporary assignment, whether it be observation, research, strategic, like a listening post, or as just some sort of command post. They're not very spacious, but they are very versatile.
And so what we're going to be talking to you today is about building from a design. And we do not mean a Lego book. There was obviously no Lego book for any of this, with the exception of like the ATST and the dropship over there.
Yeah.
But the build itself was entirely your design, sort of. It came from pictures and designs that were from the old handbook.
Like case in point, here you probably can't see it from the video. But this is the illustration that was in the actual book itself. So as you can see, out very much in a very rustic environment, very rustic setting, out in the frontier. And that's basically what these are.
So let me ask you this. Was working with a pre-design, was that easier or harder? Was it easier because you knew kind of how it had to end up looking, or was it harder in that you had to match these angles and get everything to look as close as you could to the end product?
Well, in some ways, it's both.
Okay.
In some ways, it's easier because when you open up Lego Digital Designer, and anybody who's planning to do a mock like this, I recommend they download it from the Lego website, because it is invaluable. Because you get to see how bricks come together, even if you don't have the bricks, or you don't necessarily know what bricks might be best. It allows you time to experiment without having to go out and spend $1 bajillion at brick making.
Which is key, honestly.
Mm-hmm. So the design process was kind of a long one, because yes, I did have a clear image from each tool. And that is something that is a must for anybody that's trying to put together it from scratch. You got to have an idea of the end result, what you want it to look like. And so then it became a question of, yes, can we work the angles? Unfortunately, some of the angles are just impossible to accurately convey. So you just fudge it the best you can. But yeah, I would say overall it makes it easier. So yeah.
So what is it like to design it with transportation in mind? I know that's something that most of us don't think about when we first build.
That is not something that I thought about when I first built, and clearly I did not design this to be easily transportable. And to anybody else considering a large-scale model, take that in mind as early on in the process as possible, because This one, it's not the easiest in the world to transport because basically I have to take everything off the top, that's including the station itself, bag it up, box it up separate, and then the base, the green base plates and the hills in the background, I basically have to strap that down to the sheet of plywood. This MOC has actually never left this sheet of plywood. First time we showed it was at Brick Fair earlier this year. It stayed on it the full time, and you see it staying on it full time now. So it's one of those situations where ideally it takes two people to load it up and bring it in and set it up. And even at that point, it takes quite a while to set everything back into place. Because I want to say about 3 hours worth of setting up last night to get it to this point.
So you said in an earlier conversation that it took you 2.5, 3 years to do this?
Yes, that's right. It actually started out from a promise that I made to my son. We were visiting Brick Fair one year, and he was having such a great time all the time. I said, so would you like to maybe one day build something of our own and put in the show? And he was very excited about that. And so he wanted to do a Star Wars MOC, and I knew that if we did a Star Wars MOC, it would need to be something that you don't see every day. Because Star Wars MOCs are very popular, and that's a great thing, but it also means that you're going to see a lot of them. So the ones that tend to stand out are the ones that aren't, say, how many Echo bases have you seen from Empire Strikes Back? Or how many battle scenes have you seen?
How many Endor scenes?
How many Endor scenes have you seen? So the ones that tend to stand out are ones that take a slightly different path than the norm. And this one, I knew that we wanted to do something like I wanted to do the base. I have been a big fan of this base ever since I first saw it in the book. And I just said, okay, that's something you're not going to see because you don't see it everywhere else. And it's actually generating quite a amount of interest from people who come up and they go, what is this?
And now you've done a video that was not really step by step, but stage by stage on your channel about the construction of this, and we'll put a link to that in the description so you guys can go check that out. It's a really good video. I recommend you go and take a look at it.
It's actually for part of this build.
For part of this build.
Part of the build. One of the little vignettes, and this is another thing that I love seeing in vignettes, or our vignettes in larger MOCs, no matter where you go. The larger ones, just something to show what else.
Easter eggs.
Easter eggs.
Yes.
Just the effort that people go to show all these little stories that might be going on. It's like you look at it from a distance and you go, oh, it's a big Lego castle. But then you go in and say, oh, well, look, here's where they're burning a witch, or they're hosting like a Renaissance festival. It's actually, hey, it's not in medieval times. It's just a reenactment.
Yeah.
And so the vignette that is up right now is one that you really can't see from the camera angle here. It's way back in the back, but it's a little bit of fun. It's a mashup. It's I love it. I love the ones that don't quite take themselves seriously.
Those are some of the best ones. And now, switching over, I guess, to these little Easter eggs and things, how hard do you have to plan for these? How far out in advance? Or is it just something that you kind of do on a whim?
Yes. Some of them going in. The best ones to me are ones that just come up at the spur of the moment. Whether it's a case of me and my son just talking back and forth. They go, well, wouldn't it be cool if this happened? Or wouldn't it be cool if we had a Lincoln vampire hunter running through the foliage in the back, chasing a couple of vampires, just because no one's going to expect it. Or, case in point, this one right here that came about just last night. where you had the Bob Ross figure out and about in the city part of our display.
Yeah.
And I just said, what would be funny is if you had Grand Admiral Thrawn looking on and critiquing Bob Ross's art style, trying to understand the Bob Ross species.
The species of Bob Ross. But fans of Star Wars, or definitely Legends, and even now in canon, will understand Thrawn was always big into art.
Yes.
And so it's kind of been fun to sit here and see who gets it.
Yes, it is.
Those are some of the best Easter eggs. Right. So you mentioned a few minutes ago building with your son, and that's something that's always really intriguing to me because I'm young and I don't have a son to be building with yet. So
doesn't have to be a son; could be a daughter.
That's true. That's true. But talk to me about that. What is it like bouncing ideas off of each other and trying to build a MOC in cooperation?
Well, with my son, it's not like we're talking like father-son. It's like we're talking between two friends. We're just saying, wouldn't it be cool if this happened? And a lot of the times it's like we're doing it to crack each other up.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the best idea. Like there's another build that we've done. It's called Family Time, and it's basically Luke, Vader, and Leia. Let me say that again. Luke, Vader, and Leia sitting around a campfire, and there's a travel camper connected to Luke's land speeder. That is exactly the kind of build that came about in one of the conversations, and we just say, it's like, let's put a camper on the land speeder, because that would be funny. It would also be funny if they were roasting marshmallows with their lightsabers. And it just builds off of that. And a lot of the conversations go back and forth about, what do you want, what all vignettes do you want in the build? So do you want it to be serious? You want it to be fun? Okay, that's not really much of a conversation because it gets to that point we go, well, fun, obviously. And then the conversation's done. But it's fun to be doing it with your child because my son is growing up, he's 14, maybe 15 later this year. And he's getting off into his own interests, and I'm happy for that. But the times that you get to spend with your child still doing something that you both enjoy, that I think, as much as I love Lego, I love that more. Well, with my son, it's not like we're talking like father-son. It's like we're talking between two friends. We're just saying, wouldn't it be cool if this happened? And a lot of the times it's like we're doing it to crack each other up.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the best idea. Like there's another build that we've done. It's called Family Time, and it's basically Luke, Vader, and Leia. Let me say that again. Luke, Vader, and Leia sitting around a campfire, and there's a travel camper connected to Luke's land speeder. That is exactly the kind of build that came about in one of the conversations, and we just say, it's like, let's put a camper on the land speeder, because that would be funny. It would also be funny if they were roasting marshmallows with their lightsabers. And it just builds off of that. And a lot of the conversations go back and forth about, what do you want, what all vignettes do you want in the build? It's like, do you want it to be serious? You want it to be fun? Okay, that's not really much of a conversation because it gets to that point we go, well, fun, obviously. And then the conversation's done. But it's fun to be doing it with your child because my son is growing up, he's 14, will be 15 later on this year, and he's getting off into his own interests, and I'm happy for that, but the times that you get to spend with your child still doing something that you both enjoy, that I think, as much as I love Lego, I love that more.
So, to you, it's as much about the bonding as it is the actual construction.
It's about the spending time with my son as much as it is about the construction.
I think that's one thing that we should stress for a minute, is it's not, it doesn't have to be about the MOC itself. On MOC-UP, we talk a lot about the construction, the technique, the story that you're trying to tell with your MOC, but when you get into an environment like this where you and your son, or even if it's you at home with your best friend, it's more about the relationship than it is about the end product. So don't start going off on one another when it's not quite what you had in your mind.
Yeah, and I will agree, this is never going to win any awards for best MOC, especially when you have these people who have like city blocks worth of construction, or they have like a minifigure scale battleship. You know, those are grand and those deserve to be recognized. But the cliche that says getting there is half the fun, well, sometimes cliches are pretty accurate.
They can be. They really can be. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
We've got a link on the screen right now, or probably down in the comments if YouTube is still fighting us about where we can put links up for your channel. And your channel is?
Project Servotopia.
And it's a really cool series that he's doing with his son. And we'll send a link over. He did an interview with me earlier today. So go ahead and go check that out. In the meantime, guys, we'll see you next time. Give this video a like if you did like it. I mean, it's only nice. And if you'd like to know...
If you like it, show you liked it.
If you'd like to know...
Put a ring on it.
And if you would like to know when we post more videos, go ahead and comment. I really hope you guys were able to find something good in this video today. We'll see you next time. And in the meantime, guys, keep building.